Of Louisiana, what he makes of all of this, where he stands on all of this. Senator, as this package now stands, would you be a yes or a no vote?
I haven't decided, and I say that not to dodge your question, because I'm still looking at it and because there's going to be amendments offered. There's been concerns, for example, defense spending is effectively cut. If you take inflation, it has the potential to be cut even further in the future. And now the world's a more dangerous place, not a less dangerous place. Just one example of the concerns that are kind of bubbling up. Those have to be addressed.
All right, it's 99 pages, doesn't take long to go through, but as it stands now, it sounds like you're concerned about add-ons or things that might pop up in the Senate that you don't like.
Yeah, well, no, I'm actually concerned about the bill as it came over. And I recognize it's a compromise. So the question is whether it's an acceptable compromise. I've mentioned defense spending, but as it turns out, the domestic spending is not cut quite as much as originally billed. Now, it may still be that you want to go with the bill, but that said, it's just a little bit different than it was than the original kind of as I took it.
All right. Now, we do know that Republicans are crowing about the fact that this will trim spending by $1.5 trillion over 10 years, which sounds like a lot until you realize that the overall debt will still increase more than $10 trillion when all is said and done. So that's kind of a rounding error on a rounding error.
Well, I will say that a lot of what is driving our indebtedness is that Medicare and Social Security are going insolvent. And as a doc who used to take care of patients who were poor, I know the importance of those programs. My frustration is that no one is actually talking about how do we save those programs. If we save those programs,
this wasn't part of that, right? I mean, this was only that sliver, about 12 or 13% of the budget that they could look at, this discretionary spending. So there's really, it started out with a faulty premise, didn't it?
It did, in the sense that you're not going to make some huge dent unless you do something to make sure that Social Security and Medicare don't go broke. And now we got to make sure they don't go broke because our seniors depend upon it. And yet people are pretending like there's no, Trump and Biden are both saying there's no problem with the programs. And there is a problem with the programs. We got to save them. And by the way, if we save them, you do a heck of a lot to address our nation's indebtedness.
All right, now the student loan replacement pause effectively coming to an end. There's a measure right now to address that. Separately, the Supreme Court taking up this issue that might make all of this a moot point. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so I just was fortunate to author today a bill, that a Congressional Review Act, that would go to the president and say, Mr. President, your student loan transfer of debt, you call it forgiveness, but in reality you're just transferring the debt unfairly to other Americans. That is going to stop. Now, it passed with bipartisan support. I suspect Biden will veto it, but he will veto it and he'll have to make a statement defending why he's merely transferring the debt from those who willingly took it to those who paid back their loans or never took it, and why he's willing to have the unfairness of that situation.
Senator, real quick, have you committed to any of the Republican presidential candidates?
I have not.
If Donald Trump were the nominee, would you support him?
No, I can't say that I would support Mr. Trump for all the reasons that we know about.
So any one of the others you would, but not Donald Trump?
Yeah, I think any other Republican will win, and I don't think Donald Trump can win. And people get mad at me for saying that. But in the 4 swing states that Republicans have got to do well in, the candidates that he blessed last time, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, lost, and they lost kind of because they were so tight to him. Now, we've seen this movie before. In the 4 swing states that we've got to win, his endorsed candidates did poorly precisely because he endorsed them. We need a Republican that can actually win the general election.
So what would you do if he were the nominee? Just not vote for president, vote for Joe Biden, assuming he was the Democratic nominee?
I'm voting Republican. I'm voting Republican. I can promise you that. I'm voting Republican.
But if he were the nominee, he'd be the Republican nominee. You said you're not going to vote for him.
There's other Republicans I can vote for. There'll be another Republican I can vote for. But I actually think that everybody's assuming the former President Trump's the fait accompli, and I actually am not quite so sure about that. And so I suspect that some of the other candidates that people are now dismissing will make a stronger run than folks imagine.
We'll watch. We'll watch very closely. Senator, very good seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill